Hello everybody, Treno here, and today we are going to take a look at the dev blog for the Project 56K Bravi Destroyer. And of course, the big main selling point of this destroyer is the fact it is armed with a SAM system. It has surface-to-air missiles. Now, the Bravi is going to be coming to the USSR Naval Tech Tree at rank 4, and while of course the SAM system is the main selling point, it technically isn't the first missile-armed vessel in War Thunder. The premium USS Douglas at 4.0 and the regular Italian Saetta P494 at 4.7 are obviously already in the game. But compared to those vessels, the Douglas only carries 2 missiles, and I think the Saetta carries 5 missiles. This is going to carry 18 missiles. Now, it can only launch 2 at a time, and it does say in the dev blog it will have a long reload time. But of course, with 18 missiles, that is a lot of reloaded missiles, so you aren't going to be having to hang around the capture points to reload your missiles. You can just reload them in cover somewhere else and then keep on firing them. And as for the missiles itself, they're fired from the Volna M SAM system, and it says that they are good for long and medium range engagements, and can acquire targets from 16 kilometers away. And in addition to attacking enemy aircraft, it can also attack surface targets. And especially against light targets, it will probably do well because it has a 30 kilogram warhead. So this is going to be quite a powerful SAM system. But of course it does also come with other weapons. The Bravi has 3 quad 45mm mounts, 1 at the bow and 2 amidships. And these seem to be the same SM-20 Zifs as used on the Shabakov, meaning it can fire high explosive fragmentation shells, but crucially does lack in HEVT shells. However, that is covered in the main armament, which is a pair of SM-21 130mm guns placed in a single dual mount at the bow of the vessel. And this comes with 500 shells, which, like I say, includes VT shells for air engagements, but also comes with the regular HE and SAPC BC shells. And it does specifically say that these guns should really be relegated for use against light surface targets and aircraft, though it will still be able to hold its own against other enemy destroyers, but like the dev blog says, it's not particularly the best armed vessel for a gunnery engagement. For very close in defence, it carries 2 multi-tube RBU mortars, which are able to launch unguided rocket-launched depth charges, which of course can cause damage to smaller targets very close into the Bravi. Now, the dev blog and some sources say it is armed with the RBU 2500, but some sources state that the RBU 6000 was used instead, so I have to wait for the dev server to see which of those are being added to the vessel. And although it's not mentioned in the dev blog, we can see in the trailer that it carries 5 torpedoes in a single mount, so this could still be a threat to any large ships that get in close to the Bravi. Although, again, you'll probably be destroyed long before you actually get in close to any large vessels. But if you're waiting in an ambush situation around islands or in shallow waters, the torpedoes could still do you in good stead. And of course, being a destroyer, the Bravi is pretty fast, about 38 knots or 44 miles per hour. So you'll be able to act as a mobile anti-air shield for less well-armed ships, quickly traversing the battlefield and just providing general mobile cover where it's needed. Though of course, being a destroyer, you are going to be relatively unarmoured, so you won't be able to stand in a line of battle and, get into gunnery drills as mentioned earlier. So overall, this does sound like a fairly fun ship, but it is a bit worrying if other nations do not get access to similar vessels. Like I say, the USS Douglas is a premium vessel, and the Italian Saetta P494 is the only regular vessel, and that's in the coastal tech tree, so obviously it's going to be of limited use against larger vessels. So hopefully we'll see other nations starting to get their versions of this ship. And also it does add to the confusion over some of the battle ratings, because right now you've got very high tier World War I ships fighting World War II aircraft, while in turn being protected by Cold War vessels that in theory could have been built 50-60 years after the World War I vessel. Of course, we got HMS Dreadnought 1905. The Bravi was converted in, I think, the late 50s, early 60s. So, yeah, I hope they maybe rationalise the battle ratings with regards to naval battles at least. Because assuming this comes in at about 4.7 or 5.0, you're going to have a 60s vessel going against 1940s strategic bombers and naval aircraft, and it just doesn't really make sense at the moment. And I know the top tiers can be a bit of a mixed bag with regards to AA. Some ships are, like I say, in their World War I configuration and are relatively unarmed against aircraft, but then you've got the World War II refits that are absolutely loaded with anti-aircraft guns, especially the American ones. So yeah, I'd like to see a bit of a rationalisation of aircraft battle ratings in the higher tiers. But anyway, that's just a quick video on the Bravi, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll join me for future episodes. I've been Terreno, and I'll see you next time.